So the other question is, someone looking at a franchise and they're fearful, worried. What advice would you give a potential franchisee that's looking at this sector? Maybe be looking at home care for a couple of years. What advice? They're feeling fearful. They've been or are in a very good, a well-paid job. Maybe in corporate life with all the things that go with it.
So it's hard, you know. It's I often talk about this. It was much easier for me. I was 22. I earned nothing, right? So starting a business, I had very little to lose. I didn't have a mortgage, a wife, children, a really well-paying six-figure job or whatever it was. I didn't have all of that. So it was much easier for me to make the decision. But I have been in that situation when I've sold a business and thought I'm going to start again. And so I understand the fear around that. There's probably only a couple of things that I would say to somebody. Number one, I would say, let's do the research and let's do the work and understand what I've got. And there's absolutely such a thing as over egging the research and really getting into the minutiae. But I think fundamentals are, do I understand what I'm getting, what am I buying, and who are the 5 or 6 different players that I'm talking to and interested in, what resonates with me, and really sort of do the work, do the research, because at that point, again, you get much more in control. Second of all, am I well funded? And then if I'm well funded, do I have a bit more? So that I've got the buffer amount that the franchisor is telling me, whatever the sector is, 100 grand, £1 million, whatever it is, I've got that. And then I've got living expenses for a year, 18 months myself, so that isn't impacted. And if I'm super afraid, I'd probably say, well, actually, I want to make sure I've got both those things. The thing I did, actually, my wife's a dentist, and so the thing I always said to my wife was, look, you carry on practicing, I'm going to do this. Your job is the thing that keeps us secure. My thing is the thing that either takes off or doesn't. And, that's a risk that we then take. And if it doesn't, then I'll do the next thing. But at very least, we've got you here kind of running just in case. And I think if you're in a partnership and you have that option of saying one person carries on working and the other person does this, or even whether that's a marriage or just business partners, not both of you join the business straight off the bat, is, I think, quite useful. So that you've got another income coming in, but really having some proper understanding as to what that means. So being well funded will omit a lot of your fear, because actually there's only so many things that you're going to be afraid of, and if you can carry on living the way you were living, it will omit a lot of the fear. But then really having a plan around what action I'm going to take. And I talk about action a lot. It's because I just think when you're running a business, that's all there is. There is a selection of actions. In fact, I did a piece of work with my management team, say, let's break down how many steps there are from signing a franchise agreement to £1. And, there might be 120 odd steps there. And literally broken down into, I'm going to start a limited company, then I'm going to get a DBS, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Break it down, because actually when it's broken down like that helps omit fear. Because I can just say, well, it's a process, that's it. I'm just going through the motion, going through the steps. And once I've done this will happen, then that will happen, and then that will happen. And actually, the thing that we really talk about now is really having a marketing system in place as a franchisee, and saying, well, are you investing enough in that? So we do ongoing work with franchisees around that. So one of the things that we started in the last 12 months was, after franchisee training, working with a franchisee to say, great, come and present to us and your cohort, and then come back again in 6 months' time and say, well, this is what you said you were going to do, this is how it's been going. Because it keeps you accountable as well, more than just that franchise support piece, that one-to-one. It keeps you accountable with your cohort and your peers. And I think all of that is really important, so that we can help motivate you to take action and grow.